Okay, so good morning everyone. So our topic that we will discuss for this morning is all about the balance sheet. Okay, so what is a balance sheet? So a balance sheet is a financial statement that provides a snapshot of a company or business financial position at a specific point of time. So it shows the company's assets, liabilities, as well as the owner's equity. So later, we will discuss what is asset, what is liabilities, as well as what is owner's equity. All right. So since we mentioned the positions or the positions of having or having in a company. Okay, so there are three components. So ang tawag na to sa to ang asset, liabilities, as well as owner's equity is a component. So it is a components of a balance sheet. So before we proceed, so ang balance sheet is mostly makita na to siya sa mga ganegosyo, unsa pa gyud ganegosyo, as well as sa kanang mga marketing aspects sa kanang company. So it shows there kanang kung sakto ra ba or tama ra ba ang ilahang mga expenses o ang ilahang mga profit. Okay. So, asset, liabilities, and owner's equity is three main components sa ato ang balance sheet. Alright. So, asset, it is a resources that owns or control which have economic value and are expected to provide future benefits. So, assets are typically categorized as current assets. So, na siya duha category, which is the current asset and the non-current asset. So, unsa man example or kanang kanusa man nato siya matawag nga current asset siya or non-current asset. Okay, so matawag nato siya nga current asset siya, especially if it is cash, inventory, and accounts receivable. So, mo na siya ang mga current asset. So, mga kanang ginatawag na to nga kanang naa sa ato ginatawag na to siya tangible. So, mo na siya ginatawag na to as a cash, inventory, accounts receivable. So, sa ato ang discussion sa ato ang farm business, so there we na mention man tong mga accounts receivable, pasabot mga dawatunon nga it's either cash na. Dayon, ang ato ang non-current is the intangible, which is property, plant, and equipment. So, properties just like land, buildings, and then plant is kanang mga planta. So, sa company, if ang ato ang company is kanang about sa mga processing, so dili gyud malikayan or dili gyud mawala nga syempre, we really need to have a planta. So, daghan man kanang especially kanang if we travel from CDO to from Claveria or to CDO vice versa or kanang somewhere padulong taog Butuan as well as in Bukidnon, there have makalabay taog mga planta. So dara sa Bugo na ay planta dira, Bifel ice something somewhere in Taguluan. So mga equipment, so matawag po nato siya non-current asset. It's because equipment is kuan man siya kanang mga gamit nato, mga just like sa to ang farm natay mga machineries and equipments nga use. Okay, so another components that we have in our balance sheet is that the liabilities. So what is liabilities? So in a balance sheet, so these are the obligations that a company owes to others. So, such as mga loans, accounts payable, and accrued expenses. So, the example for this, So, actually, just like asset, naagyapon siya non-current and current nga ato ang ginatawag as category. So, kung ang current, so kung ang asset is naa siya non-current and current asset, ang ato ang liabilities is also have a current and non-current liabilities. Alright. So, the example for the current liabilities is that the short-term loans and accounts payable. So when we say gani nga kanang when we say current liabilities, so mga short-term loans. Okay, when man ta mo ingon nga short-term ra siya, if it is below 1 year nga loan, kanang 6 months and others nga kanang basta ka wala siya nilapas og isa ka tuig. So mo na siya to mga short term loans. Then accounts payable, so ikaw mismo ang the company or the firm nga naay ginabayaran. Di ba, the accounts receivable ikaw ang naay dawatonon, accounts payable ikaw ang naay bayron. Another one example is sa ato ang non-current liabilities. So, it is the long-term loans and pension obligation. So, the long-term loans, katong mga beyond 1 year na, nilapas og 1 year, mga 2 years, 5 years na nga mga loans. Dahil mga pension obligation sa ato ang farm, natay ginatawag nga crop insurance. So, it is a long-term since, man siya kanang for the insured sa ato ang mga crops. And then, sa company pod, mga pension obligations, just like sa kanang ato ang, sa ato ang mga tawagan ni sa ato ang mga worker, mga employee nato na atong ginasweldohan, just like ginakuha nato ang mga SSS, Pag-ibig, and other nga mga life insurance as pension obligations. Okay. The third main component is the owner's equity. So it represents the residual interest in the asset of the company after liabilities have been deducted. So when we say owner's equity, it is kanang the portion of the business that the owners can claim. So the example for this is the shareholders, retained earnings, and other reserves. So it is mostly happen ang kanang shareholders kaysa ato ang mga company, kanang naay mga gina-share, just like if ever na ang gina-share is 15%. So after the liabilities deducted, so nasad sila ay makuha. So it should be monetary. Okay. So, let's proceed. So, how to balance the sheet? So, balancing the balance sheet refers that the total assets of a company are equal to the total of its liabilities and equity. So, this is achieved by following the fundamental accounting equation, which states that assets equals liabilities plus owners equity. So let's proceed to the steps in balancing the sheet. This is how we balance the sheet. So first, list all the assets of the company. So categorizing them into current and non-current asset, as well as we will list all the liabilities separated siya sa asset ha, bulag sila. So list gapon nato ang ato ang mga liabilities, categorize them into non-current liabilities as well as current liabilities, and then we should calculate the total of all current asset and all current liabilities. So dili nato iusa tanan nga giatong gitotal si non-current asset o si current asset, then ato na puding gitotal si current liabilities and non-current liabilities, ay nato siya giad, in which dapat separate siya. So first, calculate the total of the current asset and the current liabilities, and then calculate the total non-current asset and the non-current liabilities, and then add the current and non-current assets separately to get the total asset. So, then add the current and non-current liabilities. And then add the total liabilities to the equity to get the total equity. Then i-check. Then if ever nga wala pa gyapon siya na balance, there should be something wrong with your pagbahin kanang pag-usa inana. Dayon, if ever nga na ang nahitabo, just adjust. So, adjust lang kay basin di nanubra ang imuhang non-current asset or ang imo bakang current asset nanubra or nagkulang ba kaha ang imuhang liabilities as so as your non-current your current liabilities nagkulang ba kaha or ang imuhang non-current liabilities. So, nagkulang sa sa price inana or sa numbers of stocks nga dapat dayon ta kay 20 so ang nabutang na dito kay 15 so inana. So, there should be checking and then you should adjust if not balancing. And then i-discuss sa akong kauban si Mr. Salvania, Ian Salvania on how to balance the sheet. So there i-show niya kung saon para mabalance nato siya without nga kanang naikulang yun na. So in the next slide of the video, so iyaha yung ipakita. Alright. So, what are the benefits man nga makuha nato when we balance since it is really important gyud nga magbalance sheet ta in order for us nga makuha nato ang snapshot sa tong company in terms in the financial positions, di ba nga kanang wala ra day ta nagansi kay tama man ang atong computations between our asset as well as ato ang liabilities and owners equity. Okay, so the benefits, it helps us assess financial health. So the balance sheet provides a summary of a company's asset, liabilities, and owners equity by looking at the figure in the balance sheet. Investors, lenders, and other stakeholders that can assess the financial health of the company and make informed decision about whether to invest in or lend to the company. So, it is very important because it helps to assess the financial health. Kung okay pa ba ang atong status sa atuang sa atong company or sa atuang farm, di ba? Kung unsa man kinahanglan pa ba ta magdugang og tanom sa petchay or kinahanglan ba ta magdugang og crops ingana or kulangan ba nato ato ang livestock or dungagan ba kaha nato ang other mga commodities. And then it assists in decision making. So the balance sheet can help management make decisions about the allocated of resources. So for example, if a company has a large amount of cash in hand, management may decide to invest in growth opportunities or pay down debt. So if ever na kanang it assists you in decision making, especially kanang just like akong kiingon ka ganina nga kana magdugang bata or nabatay kulangan. So the example here is if a company has a large amount, so kung nadakong kwarta ang kumpanya, unsa kaha ang iyahang pilion. So it's either mag-decide ba siya nga to invest for a growth or maybe bayaran ang mga existing ang mga utang baka or loans kay dili man gid na mawala na if ever we start a business or we start a farm, if ever nga wala gid tay cash in hand, so therefore we should loan in a bank institutions, right? So ingana, so it helps us nga kanang it help us to decide or to do decision making. And then the third one, it provides information for financial analysis. So financial analysts use the balance sheet to calculate important financial ratios such as the debt to equity ratio and the current ratio, which can provide insights in the company's liquidity, leverage, and solvency. So, the in charge of this, saka na ato ang provide information for financial analysis, isa nga ato ang mga financial analysts in which they calculate, especially ang ato ang mga financial nga mga ratios, ang mga ratios of the company. Kanang kung okay pa ba or kanang nabayaran na ba nato tanan or napabatay utang sa ato mga shareholders kay di gid malikayan nga nagyud ina na instances nga kanang natay nga makautang ta sa ato mga investors nagi company nga ina na pod. Alright. So, it required by regulatory authorities. So, the balance sheet is a required financial statement for publicly traded companies and is used to report financial information to regulatory authorities and the public. So, as an officer, as an kanang create og mga events sa school, so diri masulod sa required by regulatory authorities. So before mangyud mi mahimong accredited nga organizations sa institution, we should submit a lot of papers. So one thing that there is ang kanang financial statement. So, dapat yun nga, kana ang financial statement na mo nga ginapas is balance yun siya dito sa mga nagasto as well as sa nabilin nga money. So, gina-include po na namo dito balance forwarded kung pila ang money for the first semester as well as in the second semester. And dapat tugma gid siya kay syempre og dili tugma i-question man ta diba na di na padulong ang kwarta. So, nga na. So, it used to report financial information. So, when you say manggid balance sheet, so it is a financial statement that provides a snapshot in a company or a business. Okay, then it helps with tax planning. So, the balance sheet provides information about a company's asset which can be used for tax planning purposes. So, for example, if a company has a large amount of depreciation, okay, again, so what is depreciation? It is kung pila na lang siya, kung pila na lang ang price in a given period of time. So, if ever nga, if lugar, your equipment cost 100,000 and then mo siyang i-sell within 5 years, so it should be i-divide lang nato siya. But in a straight line nato inadugang, di ba, na kanang very important is ang yang salvage value. So therefore, so the example here is if a company has a large amount of depreciation, it may be able to lower its tax bill by using accelerated depreciation methods. Okay, so with the help of the balance sheet, and with the helps with it helps with tax planning. So therefore diri nato kung pila na lang di ay ang tax nga mabilin kay na in terms of na depreciate na siya. Kay di ba sa ato ang balance sheet namang gid masulod to ang depreciation cost sa ato ang building, sa ato ang mga equipments or ano na. All right. So what are the other factors pa man gyud, di ba, aside sa tuang three main components which is the asset, liabilities, and owner's equity, so what are the other factors of balance sheet? So, which include na to siya. So, there are 5 other factors. So, first one is the liquidity. So, this refers to the ability of a company to meet its short-term financial obligations. So, asa gito na to makita ang mga obligations sa tuang liabilities. Okay, very good. Sa tuang liabilities, makita ang atuang liquidity. So, to assess a company's liquidity, you can look at the current asset and napudi gihapon siya sa tuang asset. So, look at the current asset and current liabilities on the balance sheet. So, a company with a high ratio of current asset to current liabilities is considered to be more liquid. So, more short. So, another one is the solvency. So, this refers to the ability of a company to meet long-term financial obligations. So, to assess a company's solvency, you can look at the long-term debt and equity on the balance sheet. So, a company with higher ratio of equity to long-term debt is considered to be more solvent. So, it should be na-meet niya ang long-term nga mga obligations. And then, capitalization. So, that's referred to how a company has financed its operation. So, the capital, which is important factor po sa atuang balance sheet kung pila ang kwarta na, nag-start and pila ang money at the end. Alright, so the asset quality, so this refer the quality of a company's asset. So to assess a company's asset quality, you can look at the composition of its asset on the balance sheet. So a company with a high proportion of liquid assets, such as cash and short-term investment, is considered to have a higher asset quality. Okay, for the book value, this refers to the value of a company's asset, liabilities, and equity as reported on the balance sheet. So, mo na ni siya ang atuang kanang liberate, which is, it is more important to note that the book value may not reflect the true market value of the company. So, overall, these factors, in addition to the asset, liabilities, and owner's equity listed on the balance sheet, can provide a more complete pictures of a company's financial position and performance. So, even though dili na to siya kuan na to, pero when we say sa ato ang financial statement na yun, so naman yun na to na makita dadto na dadto mo ni siya di atong short term, and atong long term. So, just like sa mga examples na ipakita sa to ang kauban.
This is a sample balance sheet from GCE Farms on December 21, 2021. These are the assets and liabilities of the farm. Let's tackle first their assets. And these are the current assets. Cash of 6,900 pesos, accounts receivable 6,000 pesos, prepaid insurance 1,000 pesos, farm supplies of 2,500 pesos, a total current assets of 16,400 pesos. Accounts receivable, an income that has been earned but for which no cash payment has been received. Prepaid insurance, a payment made for an input or service prior to the accounting period in which will it be used. And now, the fixed assets are land of 15,000 pesos, tools and equipment of 6,000 pesos, 2,000 pesos, allowance for depreciation 4,000 pesos, a total fixed assets of 19,000 pesos. And their overall total assets is 35,400 pesos. And these are their liabilities. Their current liabilities are accounts payable of 2,000 pesos, notes payable of 4,000 pesos, and earned income 1,000 pesos, interest payable of 150 pesos, salaries and wages payable of 2,500 pesos. A total current liabilities of 19,650 pesos. Their long-term liabilities is 0. And the proprietorship, the state or right of owning a business of holding a property. GCE Capital, a 15,000 pesos. Their net income 10,750 pesos, and a total of 25,750 pesos. And their total liabilities and proprietorship is 35,400 pesos.
So, that's all. Thank you so much for listening about the balance sheet. Good day.